Almost 2,000 years ago, a group of people in feudal Japan found themselves pushed further and further away from the mainstream of society as they refused to give up their spiritual beliefs to the imposed conformity of the ruling class. The ruling power made it illegal for common people to carry or own the deadliest weapon of the time, a finely edged sword. So these people had to learn to defend themselves in different ways, to walk the path of their own chosen desire and to blend in so as not to attract attention. They learned survival skills so unsurpassed that the name ninja became feared by all who heard it. But the primary concern, then as now, was to live and to let live in peace and harmony so that all mankind can reach their own levels of heightened enlightenment. This black belt home study course is designed to set you on the path. Nenpo will give you the power to overcome life's obstacles by coming out on top. And the skills you will learn in this series will give you the flexibility to roll with life's everyday punches, the courage to climb above life's obstacles. Only your own discipline and perseverance can carry you through to the finish, your goal of receiving a black belt and all that it stands for. And view life from a different perspective from that uncluttered height. And what the insights that you've gained will help you to slice through all the things that are holding you back from being all that you can be. You may find that instead of being caught up in fights that don't concern you, you can just hang out and observe. Unless, of course, you need to take action, and then who knows? You may be so dazzling they don't even know what hit them. We will study from the traditional schools of Kumugakure-ryu, Koto-ryu, Tagakure-ryu, Gyokushin-ryu, Gikan-ryu, Gyokuro, Tagagi-yoshin-ryu, Shinden-furu-ryu, Kuki-shinden-ryus of Grandmaster Masaaki Hatsumi of the Bujinkan system. I am proud to present this black belt home study course.
Right. If you've been really studying diligently, you're on now to 4th Kyu. I'm sure that maybe you've looked through this video series, or maybe you're just looking through it now before practicing all the techniques. I do want you to go through and practice each and every movement so that you have those down so that you can make this progression so you don't develop any really bad habits that are more difficult for you to correct. As you move on now into 4th Kyu, I want you to pay attention to your taking your opponent off balance, how your little moves, how your subtle movement of your body itself begins to take your opponent in ways that you choose to have them go. And if they're taking you off balance, that you learn to start to shift to be able to take them into the positions that are the very best for you. Some of the emphasis are countering kicks, using the rokushakubo and weapons, 6-foot staff. We're going to begin with gyakuwaza, primarily working first with takeori, showing the ura and the omote. Takeori is done with an opponent, basically in taking the wrist, and that I take and grab so that my hand just slides, kind of slides up on the wrist, so I have this like kind of a little C. So this C on my hand kind of grabs. I can take little pressure points and actually cause pain into my opponent into little places like this. I would take, and the pressure is actually on the top point of the wrist. I do this by pressing with getting pressure on this point of the hand. I press this and have this flow going towards the elbow. I can raise this in this way, raising this up in a basic form of takeori. Takeori can be done from a basic thing where a person is reaching to grab, and I grab a hold of their hand, turning their wrist up, bringing it straight up, holding the person. Notice that, remember that the person will tap out when it gets a little too strong. This is a basic form of takeori. Takeori also, far as can be done against a knife. If a knife attacker is coming in, I can parry to the side, bringing this blade up. The blade will come out of his hand. If the blade does not come out of his hand, I'm here, I can go up and coming down. The blade will then go out of his hand. Once more from another angle. Catching with my body going up, raising his elbow up, taking his elbow back down again, utilizing the ground to create the pressure on this takeori. His whole body moves. And now I have the weapon. Which I will keep. The form of ura takeori is reaching underneath from the opposite side. It can be done with either hand. Done with this hand, you can switch to the opposite hand. It's basically taking his hand and coming with this C. So I'm not really having to grasp. I'm just taking and applying this pressure back towards his body from this side, in this position. This can be also done with the other hand. Ura takeori. Practice switching back and forth, learning to do these. Also with the emote. I can switch hands. Later on, you can learn to bring these into your own body to create pressure. This can also be done even off of a punch. Person punches, I may smack the punch and immediately take this hand up into this takeori. Notice how it raises his body up. Same thing on the other side. Smacking these small bones. You take one hand, grab the other hand, utilizing both hands in takeori. Both hands. Those are some aspects of learning takeori. The next technique of the gyaku waza is o-gyaku, or the great reversal. This aspect of the great reversal is actually reversing the shoulder itself. So as we'll see, this is demonstrated with an opponent. His opponent comes with a punch. That I basically want to step in and reverse this shoulder. I would not be allowing him to step. Reversing this arm so it goes over, forcing him to roll. Once more with the other arm, but I would actually be taking this arm and reversing the whole arm. It's one form. I could use both hands in doing this, where I'm coming here and putting my hand on his shoulder itself, rolling him over. It can be done where it becomes a drop to the ground. And then I could roll this way, but it would be very, very devastating for him. It's reversing the angles on the shoulder. Once more, maybe from a punch. It's just here. Once more. You could actually do this in a free-flowing form as you advance. Once more. A different, a little more advanced, modified form of this arm reversal are known as o-gyaku. Kicho kaiten. Rolling diving rolls. Allowing yourself to blend into the mat. Collapsing, rolling safely, effectively. Basic drills. Practice your skills, you learn to go just a little higher. Of course, as your rank goes, the higher you need to learn to go. advanced aspects of Hicho Kaiten, diving flying rolls.
What we're working on here is Shoten no Jitsu, or skills of running up surfaces. What you want to do is you want to approach the surface that you're running up with enough speed that it creates a momentary artificial gravity in this direction. So you run up against this, and as you continue running in this direction, you use that forward momentum to create artificial gravity as you run up the tree. In the beginning, you want to do this on a more inclined plane, like maybe set up a pole on a wall or a plank on a wall, or find a tree that's more slanted so that you can get used to running up an inclined surface before you run up something vertical. And eventually you just angle that more and more upwards until you have the skills and the leg strength and the confidence to run up a more vertical surface. Shoten no Jitsu.
Very, very nice. There are a couple of different aspects of Hicho Kaiten that we'd like to point out at this time. One is the aspect of jumping over for a vertical diving roll, upwards and then downwards. The next aspect is a lateral diving roll, something to cover distance. Here. Now, during these two types of rolls, you can be doing any number of things with your hands. You can just be using them to break or ease yourself down through the fall into the roll. You can be grabbing weapons. You can be diving to get distance for an opponent, coming up with defenses and attacks, or any number of things. There's just a basic difference between going for distance and going for height. Hicho Kaiten. The next forms that we're going to practice is from Jutai Jitsu, Keri Kaeshi, countering kicks. So the attacker comes with a kick. The first thing you want to do is be able to watch this kick. And notice how in the direction, the angle that it's coming. This is very nice as his body is leaning forward. His kick is straightly directed into mine. All of his weight's coming forward. This is what I want. But I don't want to be there when a kick is happening. The very first piece is being just enough distance, just outside his distance. This is not grabbing, my hand is just resting here. So it's very easy for me to either step back for a second, or as this kick is placed here, to also go back for a second, backwards the other way, sending my attacker back in to a way that he's not used to falling. Barely touching my body. Basic forms of evading. You want to practice one side here. Also turning inside. working on basic evasion forms. One major idea of our art is not to be where the attack is. Because then that gives me the ability to do Kudaki techniques, or punch into the leg, taking my attacker down. I can punch to this side of the leg, kicking, taking my attacker down. Punching, catching, punching the leg here, punching again, destroying that leg, Kari Kudaki. Also, I can catch this leg here, paying attention to this hand, run my eyes into his face, taking the leg and just dropping my body down forces his body down. Once more. I want you to notice I just allowed this foot to lay and rest on my arm. I can trap it, but I don't really need to. I don't have to have the time of actually trying to grab this technique. I want to just naturally flow into this so that they actually think they have me. Because it's very easy to take him off balance because he's not expecting me to do these moves. Destroying these legs. Also in Kari Kudaki, you want to be able to learn to utilize your own legs to move these legs out. Once more. I'm just using my knee. Punching again with my knee, driving him down. It's a little bit more advanced, but this is what you want to start thinking about in fourth Kyu going on to third Kyu of utilizing other parts of your body. Notice that I'm only turning half side of my body. Again, I punched with my knee to drive him to the ground. I only need to move half of me. So if I take and move this half, the leg slides along. I can come back. I can drop my knee on here or put it into his back, punching him down with my knee. Can also take this, just move and turn his whole body, continue to take it down. You want to get into a little bit more aspects of some free form. In our testing, you'll have to do at least 4 good counters against a kick in different kinds of ways. So I say it's just catching, holding back, destroying these legs. Another basic form is that I want to be able to use all of my body. So as he's moving, I can just step out here, catch this knee, and walk right through him. Natural movement. Ah! Delivering a few kicks of my own. These are the basic aspects of Kari Kudaki. Work on them, practice on them. They're a lot of fun. Some basic techniques and forms of ashibarai, or leg sweeps. Basic forms of ashibarai, leg sweeping techniques. great techniques of Ashibarai.
In fourth kyu for Dokken Taijutsu, we have Kokoken. This is where you have your fist with the thumb knuckle extending, and you hit with the tip of the knuckle. This is very useful in hitting in the soft tissue again, hitting in the temple, having both thumbs come into the temples, up under the chin, against the wrist. The wrist doesn't last long when it's struck with the thumb knuckle. These places. Kokoken. So far in Dokken Taijutsu, we've used hands and we've used the feet. For fourth kyu, you want to start putting them together in combinations. Punch, punch, kick. The outside, punch, punch, kick, punch. Using both the hand strikes and the foot kicks in Dokken Taijutsu for fourth kyu.
Looking at it once again.
We're beginning to get a little airborne now. We're beginning with some techniques of tobigeri, or flying kicks. Being able to jump in the air, being able to use our body movement, our body motion to deliver kicks. As we were doing before in this skipping posture, I just want to utilize that in doing a kick or carry to the person I'm actually flying across, but I would actually be in the air. So, this can be done just jumping, raising my body up. I could also do this in with double feet into my opponent. Aspects of all kinds of thinking about jumping and kicking my opponent. At this level, I'm keeping one leg a little bit down just because I want the idea of you getting up without demonstrating things that would actually hurt your uke. But you want to get high in these. It also can be when maybe I've come here that I'm jumping on these, on my actual attacker. They don't have to be quite so high in these kicks. You can jump in here. Those are some aspects of tobigeri, jumping flying kicks. Of course, those kicks can be done from jumping off some other kind of surface down onto somebody, especially if there's a difference in terrain, or if you're jumping off of a ledge or out of a tree or whatever, and utilizing some kind of kicking technique to knock down some kind of opponent. The weapon for fourth kyu is the rope shakubo. As we progress through the ranks and the weapons, but you notice in each kyu that the weapon actually gets longer in length. The rope shakubo is 6 foot in length. Begin first by showing you a couple postures of rope shakubo, or bojutsu. Beginning with your hands placed at the side, dividing your weapon into 3 sections. You have 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. Later on, you'll see why as you learn to work this staff from each of these different basic kamae that I'm about to teach you. So the first kamae is Hira no kamae. From Hira no kamae, you step back into Hira ichimonji no kamae. From Hira ichimonji no kamae, the hand comes up underneath the arm, tucking the bow underneath the arm with the bow straight towards your opponent. Sliding that arm down, keeping the forward hand in the same position, tilting so that the bow comes at an angle up into the person's eyes, is known as Seigan no kamae. Virtually any weapon pointing to the eyes is known as Seigan no kamae. From Seigan no kamae, the bow slides back so that where your hand is near the tip of the bow, sliding backwards behind you. This is Gedan no kamae. From Gedan no kamae, the bow comes across your back. This is Heito no kamae. Heito no kamae. From Heito no kamae, the bow comes up the side into Tenshi no kamae. Tenshi, heaven and earth. From Tenshi no kamae, the bow hand slides up into Jodan no kamae. Once more, that the forward hand just lifts the bow up as your backhand raises up into Jodan no kamae. Basically, all bow postures of bojutsu wazes primarily begin from this Jodan position. You can do many types of attacks and defenses from any of the different basic positions, as they're all transitory positions and not static positions. There will be lots of movement in these postures. But basically, a lot of all the wazes from Kuki Shindenryu and our art come from Jodan no kamae. Once more, I'd like to show you these basic postures from a side view, so maybe you can get a different point of view or perspective. Basic posture of Hira no kamae. Feet a little more than shoulder width apart, hands resting at the side. This is Hira no kamae, looking straight forward. Stepping back, pointing the bow straight at your opponent. This is known as Hira ichimonji no kamae. Angling the bow up, dropping it down just a little so that it pointed into my eyes of my opponent is Seigan no kamae. From Seigan no kamae, I'm letting the bow slide back, touching behind me, holding near the tip. This is Gedan no kamae. From Gedan, it slides around behind me into Heito no kamae. Heito. Sliding up, bringing my hands up into natural position with my hand almost up by my ear. This is known as Tenshi no kamae. From Tenshi no kamae, my left hand goes out as my right hand goes up into Jodan no kamae. Basic postures of the Rokushakubo. The next thing I want to teach you with the Rokushakubo is some basic strikes or basic ways of delivering attacks from each kamae. The basic strikes from Hira no kamae would be the same kind of strikes like you're doing with your hanbo. As you're sliding out, but notice that you can gain more distance now, changing to the bottom third. And going back, I just slide my hands back. Reaching first in a very basic position, I would like slide this down as my other hand slides. Learning to work the length of the bow, actually depending on how far away my opponent is. It can be short or it can be a whole lot longer. Of course, these strikes can be to the ground, they can be higher to the head. Basic strikes of Hira no kamae. From Hira ichimonji no kamae, You also could step forward and do these same kind of strikes, but you might want to think about poking or ski type strikes. So I'm here just attacking, striking into my opponent and pulling back. Just quick. Almost like a pull cue effect. Sending this forward. Basic movements from Hira. Could also come up underneath. You could also go over the top, pull back and strike. This is some basic ideas from Hira. Once more, over the top, striking, coming back to Hira Ichimonji. From Hira Ichimonji, Chudan. Chudan movements are actually more of a blocking sense, which we'll show you. Can come out from this position as a strike into an attacker. You can still do the same other kinds of movements, coming straight underneath, coming over the top, or strikes to the leg. Basically, you can do almost any attack from any position is what I'm explaining to you. Also, you can do thrusting or thrusting forward with your whole body. Chudan. You can be very subtle in these bow movements. As you begin to progress in your training, if an attacker is coming, I may only need to move this much offline and stick this right in their throat. Chudan no Kamae. Seigan, basically the same ideas. Most of the time in Seigan could be punching, skis, also over the top. Same kind of ideas, Seigan. Gedan no Kamae. Primarily done in lower strikes to the legs. Also could be done just top strikes. Very deceiving because people think you're going to be doing strike to the body or douchi. You can also do menuchi, which is a strike to the head. Basic forms of striking with Gedan. Heito no Kamae is more of a wind-up. It's more of a jumping. So I'm here, it's like whap, bam, or whop. Really attacking with a fiercity of force. Really getting a whip in there. Notice that I'm stopping my weapon right where my attacker would be, because I want to be able to come back delivering straight on type attacks. Basic postures from striking postures from Tenchi no Kamae. From Tenchi, one of the basic drills is to put the tip down onto the ground and come straight down at the foot of the attacker. Sliding this back into the hands, stepping forward or stepping back, delivering a strike to the leg. Once more, from a side view, from Tenchi, here, coming down onto the foot of the attacker. Slide this back, striking the leg. Basic from Tenchi no Kamae. In Tenchi no Kamae, my foot comes out, the bow tip comes down into the ground. I slide the bow forward, coming down onto the foot of my attacker, using it as a distraction, especially if someone's coming at me with a sword. I pull and slide it back. As I come back up, doing a strike to the leg. Once more to the side, from Tenchi, coming forward, sliding back, attacking to the leg. Basic forms from Jodan no Kamae. From Jodan no Kamae, the bow comes up, over, and around. So the timing just a little bit late on purpose. You actually want this to land at the same time. Jodan no Kamae. Furigato. The techniques of being able to move the bow in a spinning formation while moving your body into particular forms and postures. We begin in a natural hiro no kamae, shifting to hiro ichimonji. Hand releases, grabbing a hold, coming underneath, striking, releasing, so that where you build to a progression, working on keeping the hands pretty much together, but where the bow comes more straight up and down. So at any time that you're in a position to deliver a strike. To slow that down a little bit for you, I'm going to show you this in a form that I've taught my students that seems to work pretty easy for them. We begin in what would be known as a motorcycle grip. It's like you're mum, 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 mum on the motorcycle. From the motorcycle grip, you turn into hiro ichimonji. Releasing with your left hand as you spin the bow with your right hand. Taking it back into your left hand like you're in this baseball bat so that you're ready to do some kind of baseball strike. Then you do a golf swing, coming up as you step forward with your right leg. The left hand lets go, you spin it over with your right hand. Taking it with your left hand back into a motorcycle grip. Letting go, coming back for the baseball bat. Swinging under the golf string as you step forward with your left foot. Swinging up, spinning the bow with your left hand as you release with your right hand, coming back to your motorcycle grip. Releasing, going to your baseball. Golf swing, motorcycle grip. Baseball, golf swing, motorcycle, baseball, golf swing. So that you begin this progression so that you're not so pronounced after a while in actually holding on to any one of those, but being able to freely move. And deliver strikes. Basic aspects of furigata. To help you learn some of the furigata and some of the basic striking drills, together we put together a basic kata drill that you do with a partner. Starting both in hiro no kamae. From hiro no kamae, stepping back into hiro ichimonji. Letting go of one hand and flipping the bow up into the air. Grabbing with the left hand, coming down, stepping forward, doing a low get-on strike. And rotates over, hitting to the top. Sliding your hand up to the top, stretching out, lower strike. Flipping up over, doing a strike to the top. Hand flips back as if you're going into the motorcycle grip. Baseball, golf swing to the bottom. Getting back over to the top. And slide out in a full length on this. The hands are fully in full length as I'm here, sliding down. Moving back up. Continuing in a more free flow practice. You do this slow in the beginning, maybe just real slow. Slow it down so you can freestyle your movements doing high and low. So when you start speeding up just a little bit, it feels comfortable. Not too fast or you'll shatter your bows. Anyway, it's a very fun drill to practice and gives you great skills in learning how to use a bow and watch your postures and stances at the same time. But learn to play with these weapons because you can utilize these against lots of other different kinds of attacks in some very easy forms, and which I'll demonstrate right now. There's your ankle. Okay. Hey. That's one. We'll have to edit these. Just a minute, Joto. You're too fast on me. I'm trying to do this slow. You're too fast on me. I'm trying to do this slow. There's your ankle. Okay. Hey. It's the same thing. Hey.